Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome to Championship Sunday here in Major 1. 4 teams remain, largely because Scrappy went absolutely off on the main stage last night, knocking out the reigning world champions and the 2-time back-to-back champions at the end of last season, the Los Angeles Thieves. Loads of reaction to this one. Which of the 4 teams remaining will win? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you also to PrizePicks for supporting the content here on Championship Sunday. A phenomenal day today, because not just on PrizePicks can you do the Call of Duty stuff, but it's also the World Cup final. So if you guys aren't familiar with how this works, pick over or unders for any of your players in the Call of Duty League. Here we go. Let's just say Scrappy, map 1 against the subliners. He's going to go off. I'm going to take more than 24.5. And then I compare this up with any other COD stuff, or also be given the World Cup finals on. Here we go. We've got goals, shots, all the stuff we want to see. I'm going to take maybe Messi and Alvarez over. I reckon they're going to score a goal between them. That's going to be my entry. I could enter it if I was based in the US. If you guys are, check it out. Link in the description box below. PrizePicks will match your deposit up to $100 if you sign up using that link. Thanks to them. Let's dive straight into the action then. Firstly, there's some Doug St. Martin. They went out top 16 at the Boston Academy, guys. Disappointed, he says. Sorry to let the fans down. They will be back, apparently. This also for Mudog, just to mention, because yesterday was a bit of a mess, I've got to say, for the CDL when it launched. Now, to be honest, I didn't really have any issues with this, but, like, I do kind of live and breathe Call of Duty, so it's kind of more for newer fans, because there was the Call of Duty Alpha broadcast, there was the Bravo stream that was also live, and the Bravo stream was showing the Challenger stuff, but then the Bravo stream within the command center was then showing the Thieves versus Florida game. So I do think that was a bit confusing to people, and they've got to find a better way to name that, because you've got the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta streams within the command center, and then you've got the different groups that are also called aBeZy, but they're not always on the same stream, so it's always a bit of a mess. So I think they've got to maybe think about that a little bit more, or maybe, I don't know, would you guys think it was better if they went back to a world in which it was just Call of Duty, the Alpha stream, the Bravo stream, Charlie and Delta, all separate streams, like it used to be? The command center I think is good, but I'm not sure it's actually better for all the viewers, because it's quite easy to just go on multistream.com and like bring all the streams up, but maybe they don't want to do that. I don't know, just an idea I thought, but it was a little bit confusing to find Thieves' first match of the day yesterday. This also was pretty funny, right? The subliners did a bit of a skit here with HyDra and CDL Pal after all the supposed drama of not long ago. Basically, someone gives him the coffee, he slams it on the ground and says, "You're fired," and then CDL Pal on the other side. So this is just quality content, to be honest, fair play. And also just this from Daniel Sai. I thought it was really cool to see him on the flank last night, or at least on their live watch party, very open to conversation and discussing like what he sees as the future here for COD, saying that he'd love to do something in London, but fact of the matter is that before they do champs there, because it's a bit of a risk to do champs there due to time zones, that's understandable. He'd want to do a major there first before they did champs, but for them to do a major, the team London has to actually apply and ask for them to do that, and it doesn't seem like that's happening at the moment. Or maybe, like, of course there's the ownership drama there with Koi and Rogue and Rex Global and all this happening, so more than likely, like, there's no London event this year. Hopefully next year it can happen. If London's even a thing next year, they might move it to Madrid. Who knows on that front. Let's talk about a massive series then. Thieves versus the Toronto Ultra, guys. Game 1, LA Thieves clutched up. They got outslayed here. They still won the game. And what do you guys think about Thieves? Because they started off last year looking about as good as this. They came top 6 this tournament. In fairness, they lost to Toronto for that top 6 game, which is not an easy match to play. Toronto, I would say, are still favourites here to make it all the way to the grand finals. But yeah, Thieves, I don't know what you guys think about them this tournament, because they didn't exactly slay very hard at all. Their teamwork obviously was the key thing that took them over the line at the end of last season. They still have that in the respawns to a certain extent, but their search and destroy again has fallen off a fair bit. Now, there was some drama about this because Insight clutches this 1 versus 2, flies out, checks the bomb, gets the defuse, now, or kills the guy getting the defuse. Now, of course, the crowd was making it relatively clear what was going on here, but look, fact of the matter is, Insight would obviously have done that anyway. That was his only realistic play to win the round there. He knew someone was going to be on the bomb regardless, because that's the only play that Thieves had, so his play was pretty obvious. Fly out, try and get the kill, and win the round. So, yeah, I don't know why the crowd made the noise, but at the same time, it's like, okay, this costed Thieves, even though I don't really think it did anyway. It would have been the same story, but, they obviously benefited a fair bit of the World Championship last year with some of the crowd shenanigans that were going on there. That made it 1-1. Then, after Toronto win the control, it then goes to a final map here on the Hotel Hardpoint, and Scrappy was absolutely going off here. He was already going into this final clip of the game 35 in 23 or something, and then he gets 4 kills or 5 kills in the space of just a few seconds. He calls in his streak, kills one of them and also one of his teammates. He gets 1 kill, gets the 2nd kill here on Octane, flies around the corner, takes out Drazah, and then gets 1 more kill of a player coming off spawn as Thieves lose, go out of the tournament 3-1, and Scrappy drops the first 40 bomb of the season, 40 in 23 for Scrappy. Unreal performance from him. Honestly, like, you know, so far in the day, Scrappy hadn't looked that good. Was kind of getting shut down against FaZe, then the first 3 maps here wasn't, okay, statistically the first 3 maps he wasn't exactly doing anything crazy, but still he was doing an unbelievable amount of damage, and then Scrappy just comes to play. We saw 3 39 bombs so far this season. This was the first 40 bomb to knock out the reigning world champions. Quite the performance from Scrappy, and even this I think was in the presser after the fact to get a little bit sturdy. So I mean, yeah, this guy, man, you gotta respect it, because like to have the confidence that he does to, okay, yeah, he was talking about, you know, someone give me a challenge, plays FaZe, gets pretty much not smoked by them, but he gets shut down by them, and then to come back the next series up against of course the reigning world champions, and to come out and deliver a performance like that on the final map to knock them out of the tournament, like that is quite some showing. And look at these stats, right? Not just the KDs I'm caring about here, but I'm looking at the damage numbers. 12.7 thousand damage. Like what is this? It's so far above anyone else on this team and anyone else even in this series. Gotta be the most damage in the series we've seen so far this year. So I don't know if that's like a statistical anomaly there, or if like this is actually legitimate and Scrappy was just I mean, it's probably legit. There's 95 kills in the series. Like, it's probably understandable, but I mean, wow, that was quite the performance from him. And LA Thieves, or just the Thieves, for the 2nd time in their history as an organization, fall short of the 3-peat with a top 6 finish. Happened in Black Ops 4. They won London, won Anaheim, and then it went to playoffs and got top 6. Then Vanguard into Modern Warfare 2, first, top 6 again at Major 1. So it's not exactly a massive surprise to me, and Thieves aren't going to just be blowing it up, right, because they know what happened last year. They stuck with the roster. They made it work towards the end of the year. But it was their teamwork at the end of last season that was really very impressive, and their search and destroy that turned up massively. And yeah, just individually, I think maybe Kenny towards the end of last season, I think it's a very like historical thing with Kenny. He starts off the title not looking so good, and then towards the end he becomes pretty much God mode. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar story this time around, but I do think Thieves have to be careful that they get better quicker than they did last year. Last year they had their excuses, right, and understandably so. They brought in a new coach. It's not like Thieves last season just waited 6 months and became God tier. Like, they had to work for it. They decided they needed another helping hand on the coaching side. They brought in Shane. They decided they needed a role change. They put Kenny on the sub, put Drazah to the flex, and obviously with a little bit of time that worked out very well indeed. This season they already have those understandings. They've got Shane in there. They've got Kenny now in the roles that they understand should work best. So now's the time to execute, right? So I don't think they can really afford to wait, you know, 5 months just to hope they get better. They've got to get better than they are now within the period of the next, you know, 2 to 3 months. And if they don't, then more questions will be raised, especially because online they're never that good. Playing out of LA, they need to deliver the results on LAN. And arguably if they don't play Ultra here, they play Vegas or another team, they probably get top 4 and it's not really too much of a discussion. But not making Championship Sunday for the world champions is nonetheless a key talking point. Now, in fairness, Octane says here he was sick the whole weekend, had a nosebleed in the middle of game 1, so hopefully Octane feels better. And as he says, just needed more kills all weekends. We could clutch some respawns, and they are a difficult team to put down, Thieves. But they just didn't really have enough slaying over the weekend, and also their search and destroy wasn't good enough against some of the top teams. Even Kenny says, such a bad week for me, nothing but sad right now. So yeah, still a lot of frustration from the Thieves camp losing, which is good to see. They've still got the passion, they've still got the fire. But look, just know guys, that there's never been an organization that's won the World Championship back-to-back, and the Champs curse has always been a thing, and it will continue to see if it is a thing this year, even as Drazah says, down absolutely horrendous. So, I mean, yeah, it's good to see that they're still so passionate that they lose a series like this, and they're deeply frustrated, and that is a sign, I would say, of a winning team in the future if they can get back to that point. Now, Scrappy was asked after the series here in a press conference, how good are you compared to the best players in the game? And yeah, I was kind of expecting him just to say, oh yeah, I'm the guy to beat, I'm absolutely number one. Gives a slightly more reserved answer, but maybe he's going to change his tune after the Championship Sunday concludes.
Alright, Jacob's breaking point here. Scrappy just dropped the first 40 bomb of the season. I gotta ask, do you think you're the best in the game right now?
I mean, I'd say I'm up there for sure. I haven't been playing up to par these past couple of like matches, and I just needed to get that under my I just needed that for real, to be honest, because now my confidence is at an all-time high, and I just can't wait to play for tomorrow.
Now, the next series to discuss here before we talk about what's going to happen here on Championship Sunday was HyDra versus Clayster. Quite the rematch, and actually HyDra made some statement before the game actually kicked off, where he said, when I play against Clayster, he's not even ready for that. I am going to make him regret all the drama at the start of last season. And game one, it looked like it was going to be the case. This I thought was hilarious from HyDra here. He does like the Kylian Mbappe, like tears thing. I mean, look at that. Absolutely superb. I don't know if he was kind of clapping back at people saying that he was crying after the whole controller disconnect thing, and people have been throwing HyDra around, which I thought was kind of funny, to be perfectly honest. But I think even, yeah, here we go from Roosevelt to the replies here, which is pretty good. But yeah, nonetheless, I just thought that was hilarious from him. Now, I think, again, I was obviously asleep by this point, but there was some sort of issue where there's some sort of delay with HyDra and his controller, and it's unbelievable how many delays that HyDra actually causes with various controller or just hardware issues. It's been the case since this guy's been in the league, right, where there's just various things that happen that you're thinking, what's going on here? Like, how has HyDra done it again? And even Nameless says on the desk, HyDra is unacceptable, brother has an issue every map. Now, of course, pretty spicy statement, to be honest. Eventually it gets resolved, but still an interesting conversation that's going to be had going forwards there. So map 1 goes the way of New York, and then game 2, I have no idea really what New York were thinking here. They just wanted to give Clayster a nice little 1v3 for the timeline or something, because, I mean, yeah, look at this. Clay finds himself in a 1 versus 3, the 0-0 round here going into the Fortress Search and Destroy, gets 1, and then they just fly out. I guess they thought he was in a different corner, and he gets both the kills, so fair enough, and he's talking trash across the stage, so awesome to see from Clayster yet again. The energy there was right with the crowd. The issue that Vegas have is that up against, well, outside of that series up against the Minnesota Rokkr, they just can't seem to win control, and New York are just way too good at control for Vegas right now, and especially a team like Vegas where you need to go game 5 to win against the top teams, you can't really afford to lose control so regularly. Priester went off here, and then the final map of the series was super close, and as I said in last night's video, like, Vegas never go down easily nowadays. It's great to see, because the previous Legion teams, they would just be so easy to beat, and even when they did go game 5, Paris Legion last year, they would just always lose. I think they had like a 2-7 or 2-8 record in game 5 last year. You always knew what was going to be happening there. You know, I feel bad for the Vegas guys. Clayster made a solid run. Look, top 6 is impressive for the Vegas guys. I do hope that Legion actually give them a facility somewhere, because these guys, I think, are the only team that play just in their homes, basically. They don't even have a facility or anything that they go to in person, which hurts them deeply online and probably hurts their practice as well. But look, they're doing their best with what they've got. Top 6 this tournament, I think, a really impressive result. I'm sure they feel like they could have done more here. They could have sent this series to game 5. It was super close, and I'm sure they'll feel gutted really, because Prolute had a phenomenal series. He had a 1.2. Clay had a bit of a rough weekend generally in the respawns, and then TJ and even Temp, right? I mean, Temp had the most damage on his team, and not quite in the lobby. HyDra had that with 87 kills over the course of the series, which is like, he did come crazy against Clay as he promised. But yeah, Temp dropping at a 0.74. If he switches that around, they probably win that hard point. Who knows? Maybe the game 5 Search and Destroy can go a different way. And even this from the subliners I thought was pretty spicy. If you guys don't remember this is Aches actually here, and this is Karma, when Aches is pointing to Karma back in the day when they dropped Clayster from Complexity and saying that's where you got dropped, that's where you got dropped, and to Clayster on the other side of the stage, and that is what the subliners are implying right here. So pretty spicy stuff, and as Clay says, you know, costing in the respawns, GTs to them we play top 6, so look, he says that he's going to come different. I'll be worthy of praise next event, I promise you that, not letting this happen ever again. So good to see that Clayster's not only got his motivation back, but, you know, he's just feeling the love of being part of the competitive Call of Duty scene again, and I'm wishing well for Vegas and Clayster and the boys going forwards, but I just don't know if they'll ever be able to get to that next level if they don't have an actual facility to play and practice in. It's a big disadvantage, especially online, compared to the other teams that are all set up in kind of one station. And even TJ says, you know, damn, pretty gutted, and Formal even replies and picks him up and says, good try, TJ, you were going crazy in some of those maps. So good to see, and even just to mention this now, so no top 4 here for Clayster, and that means that the most COD titles with the top 4 placements, Scump still holds that record, then JCat, then Clay, then Crim. So yeah, Scump is going to probably hold this record for a long time to come, unless Slasher keeps going rogue for the next several years. Here we go then, so that leaves the bracket as following. So Surge, FaZe in the winners final, both of those teams guaranteed top 3, then Ultra versus Subliners in the losers bracket. That's going to be a cracking series, because New York right now are so fun to watch in the respawns. They like do not go down without a fight. They have incredible pace and aggression. Priest has been like absolutely different this weekend, to be honest. Skies always comes good on land. Kismet and HyDra, great to watch. Like, they are a really scary team, especially in the respawns. That Toronto series will be fire. Not exactly the top 4 teams that I was expecting here. Seattle, I think, are a bit of a surprise. New York always had, I think, this in them as a team, but the the Seattle one to me is a bit of a surprise, but yeah, they're top 3 guaranteed. What do you guys think is going to happen? I think that FaZe will take care of Seattle again, just like they did earlier in the weekend. I reckon that Toronto get past New York. Maybe it's a game 5, but I think they do. And then I think they take care of Surge as well. So I'd love to see a FaZe versus Toronto final. A best of 7 final this will be. So not a best of 9 we've had before. There'll still be 3 search and destroys, I guess. So that is quite the extensive series for these teams to have. And FaZe so far this tournament, I believe, are undefeated in search and destroy. This is one of the key benefits theoretically when Slasher came in, was that he was going to take their search and destroy back to the level it was at in Cold War, rather than kind of the weak search and destroy relatively that FaZe had last season. Seems to have done that so far, and that probably is going to be the difference maker. But yeah, something in me just believes that Toronto and Scrappy are going to make this crazy losers bracket run and win the finals regardless, and FaZe are going to get second again. But that'd be, I'm probably wishful thinking there in terms of how good the storylines could possibly be this weekend. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks to Prize Picks. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.